Renan Lodi is back on. Could he make the return back to the City ground? And can it be for a cut price? Let's find out. Welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest transfer news. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my boy right here, Renan Lodi, and it could be back on at a cut price as well. We'll cover off the latest on Dean Henderson. We have a Tyler Adams update and a huge prize giveaway from Football Prizes. Check this signed framed LED signed Jono shirt from our good friends at Football Prizes. If you want to grab yourself a ticket for a chance to win it, it's in the description below. And on top of that, ticket number 22 will be Ryan Yates' shirt as well. So if you get it, let me know. And don't forget the barbecue. Grab your tickets. They're going like hotcakes at the moment. 6th of August. 3 p.m. at the Trent Nav in Nottingham. We'll have the barbecue, we'll have a live podcast, and we'll have a general good time as we build into the start of the Premier League. Link for the tickets as well is in the description. Let's get into this and let's start with my boy Renan Lodi. Okay, so this has been on, off, 25-17, and now the talks are that Forest want to do this deal for Renan Lodi at 13 million. However, Atleti are still holding firm on somewhere between 17 and 18 million pounds. Now, this isn't really the sticking point because remember, Forest had a loan to buy on him which expired at the end of March for 25 mil. So as annoyed as that did make me, it actually pleases me if this does now come off at a cut price. And Lodi is up for the deal. According to reports from Jack Talbot, it is the reporter who does a lot of work with the Times, etc. He is saying that Lodi is interested in this deal, if the deal is right. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, we know it's more than just money when it comes to Lodi. It's about his family, with his partner, with his newly born kid. There are plenty of issues in this. But what's developed, and this is the key point, is there's been no interest in Lodi from any other clubs. At the start of the window, there was talks about him going back to Brazil. There was talks about Newcastle being interested and a couple of other clubs in Europe, like Juventus, for example. Nothing's emerged though. And this is the chance that Forest can kind of swoop in and get this deal done before any interest does come. And it almost feels like Lodi's being put into a little pigeonhole, if you like. He's backed into a corner, but not in a bad way, because he is clearly not against coming to Nottingham Forest. It's just the issues he feels he would have with his family and everything like that. But going to Forest or staying at Atletico and not playing is not really an option for him. Atletico are about to go on their pre-season tour, and as things stand, Lodi will be going away with them. But if this deal gets done, then that tour could be cut short and he could return back home where he belongs, right here in Nottingham. So I'm really, really excited about this one because all the other left backs we've been linked to have been decent, but haven't been Lodi standards. And this was a player that I remember, I think we signed him at like 2:30 in the morning back in the last summer window. And I remember doing a video stupidly at that time as well, just out of the sheer excitement of such a huge name coming to Nottingham Forest. The other benefit for Lodi coming over the likes of Augusto or Goosens or all the rest that have been linked to us is that he's played pretty much the whole season at Nottingham Forest last year. He knows us, he knows the management, he knows the fans, he knows the stadium, he knows the league. He's had that time to settle in. So he can hit the ground running and just pick up from where he left off. There was talks, and from a lot of the fan base let him go at the start of the season, especially after that Leicester game. They weren't thinking he was going to develop into the player we all knew he could be. But he turned his form around and he became probably, in my opinion, one of the better left backs in the Premier League. So if we could get him, and let me just run you through the deal that Forest are looking at here. Forest want it for about 13 million. Atleti are at about 18. So we're only looking at a £5 million gap here. I mean, give me that £5 million gap, I know. But in football terms, it's nothing. So probably what will end up happening is it will be about 15 million plus 2 or 3 million in add-ons based on performance related bonuses and things like that. That would be my guess. I don't think this one won't happen. I actually feel very positive about it. The only thing that could slow it down is if Newcastle were to come back in for Lodi, or Juventus, or teams like that potentially can offer him Champions League football, because his desire is to remain as a Champions League player. He's done it plenty at Atletico, and that's where he sees himself. And I actually believe he is a Champions League player. But if no one comes in, then his option is going to be Forest. So for this to work, I think Forest need to act quickly. Now that the door's been opened up again, they've got to walk right through it. In fact, break it down and run through it, get Lodi in and sort our left back issue out. Excuse me. However, the left back situation isn't as bad as you think, because I highly do rate Omar Richards. He was initially brought in as Forest's #1 choice before his leg fell off. And now that he's back and he's got his 2 legs and his training, it actually makes the position a lot stronger. But you can't really risk Omar Richards with his injury record over the last 12 months as your #1 choice. And let's say that the deal does go through. That then puts us in a position where we have 4 potential left backs, all within the first team squad. You've got Lodi, you got Omar Richards, you got Tuffalo, and don't forget you got Nico Williams, who can play at left back as well. So then if Lodi comes through, I would expect to probably see Tuffalo being shown the exit door, because we would have too much cover in that left back position. But let's worry about that when and if the Lodi deal goes through. But from your perspective, guys watching now, get your comments in. Would you rather see Lodi starting? Would you rather see Omar Richards starting? Or did you want someone like Augusto coming in for Nottingham Forest? Let me know what you think down below. All right, so just a very quick update on Dean Henderson, and it doesn't look like he will be going on Manchester United's pre-season tour to the USA, I believe it is, because it seems like Man U are getting closer to Onana, which in turn would, let them and allow them to push the go button on the deal for Henderson to Forest. Now, I'm still not convinced on this 30 million price tag. I think it's too much. Not because I don't think Dean Henderson is worth it. I just feel like, look, put it this way. If I were to offer you Dean Henderson and one average player in midfield, would you take that? Or would you prefer, let's say, a Livakovic for 9 or 10 million, and that would free up another 20 to 30 million that we could spend on Tyler Adams, who we'll talk about in a second? That's why I'm not really that happy with this deal if it ends up being around 30 million pounds. Now, I do think he's probably valued. Personally, I would put him at 20 mil. When Forest were talking about 15 mil the other week, that was a grab him, what a deal that would be. But just thinking about it from the squad perspective, a goalkeeper at the end of the day, as long as he can save the ball and kick the ball to one of his players, that's all you really want from him. And Dean Henderson, his distribution still needs improving. His long shot stopping needs improving. And that's why I wouldn't value him at 30 mil. But what I do like about him is the passion he plays with for Forest. He plays like it's his club. He gets how we feel about the club and he bought into it. There's a bit of shithousery about him and I do quite like that. But from a business perspective, I personally feel 30 million is too high. However, having said all that, he's still my #1 choice. At the end of the day, it's Marinakis' checkbook, not mine. So if he's going to spend it, cool. If Hendo comes through the door, obviously I'm more than happy. But what this would add, if you look at this deal and the Lodi deal, you're starting to get players back in who are mainstays and important players from last season. With Lodi, with Henderson. You're then creating that back 4 or 5, depending on how Cooper's gonna see it. On a back line, shall we say, that is already settled. You got Lodi, you got Niakate, you got Felipe, you got Aurier, and if he goes into a 5, Worrell was coming into form towards the end of last season. So already that back 4 or 5, however you want to look at it, is already settled. So that's why Dean Henderson coming in, I'm not against it. So no one misquote me on this. It's just a price tag for me. I feel we're paying Man United too much. But if he comes in and Lodi comes in, then maybe just get one more centre back for me, someone who would push in. If Cooper's going to go with a back three, then it needs to be one of those Bundesliga defenders that we've been talking about over the last week or so. That would be perfect. And then let's move on and deal with the midfield and a backup striker. And that's exactly what we're going to do now on the video. So let's go and talk about Tyler Adams. Okay, let's move on and talk about who I think should be our number one target this summer, and that's Tyler Adams. Tyler Adams playing for Leeds United in the Championship now, and they've just had a new ownership with the 49ers, who have come out and said that he is a key part of their plans and that they will not be looking to sell him. Now, there was a 40 million price tag put around his neck. How true that is, well, who's going to pay 40 million for a Championship player? Oh yeah, Spurs did. But anyway, the point here is that I don't see that as a don't come and buy him. I see that as we want to negotiate hard for him, because they're not really saying what Tyler Adams wants to do. And as far as I'm concerned, his career and his ambitions should be at least in the Premier League right now. He is that good of a CDM, in my opinion. And there's no way I can see him staying at Leeds. Put it this way, if come August, Leeds kick off and Tyler Adams is on the team sheet, I will be very, very surprised. But there is competition for Forest against him. The likes of West Ham are interested, Aston Villa, there's very loose links towards Fulham, especially if Paulinho goes. So I think that Tyler Adams will move on. Now, am I confident Forest will get him? Not for 40 million. This, for me, Tyler Adams, again, I would put him as a £25 million player, especially with the tax, or should I say the rebate of Championship football with Leeds. And Leeds are in no real strong position to negotiate this one. Because if Tyler Adams wants to leave, and I think he does, then they won't be able to hold on to him. What are they going to do? Hold an unhappy player and make him into a depreciating asset? Let's say Leeds don't get promoted next season. His value would go down and down. So as far as I'm concerned, I think he will go. But will it be for 40 million? No chance. I think this is just a ruse by Leeds to try and tell everyone, if you come in, this is the price tag we want. We're not negotiating down from it. Maybe someone will pay it. Maybe West Ham will use some of that Declan Rice money and go in 40 million for him. But there's talk they're fishing after Fulham CDM. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't feel like we're front runners in this, if I'm being honest with you guys. But I do feel that we should push for it, because he is the perfect piece of the jigsaw that would slot right in at Nottingham Forest and allow our more creative players the freedom to get higher up the park. So as this one develops, we'll keep you posted. But as things stand as of today, Leeds have come out and said, basically, we're not getting rid of him. But read between the lines. And for me, that's saying, come and get him, but give us some good money. Okay, so that's your latest Nottingham Forest breaking transfer news. Great news on Lodi. We'll keep you posted as that one hopefully develops and hopefully gets done quickly. And I'm hoping what will happen is once this Lodi deal is done, once the Hendo's deal's done, we'll start to see a snowball effect into the transfer window, both with players going out and in. So I am feeling in a better mood today with this link. Maybe just because I love Lodi. I don't know. Just keep bringing the Brazilians in. If you love the sound of Lodi coming back in, please don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new, and make sure you've grabbed your barbecue tickets. They're only a £5 for the early birds. So make sure you go and grab those. The link's in the description below. Remember, that's the 6th of August starting at 3 p.m. And go grab your tickets for the signed frame Jono shirt. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and come on you Reds.